All right, so you saw how quickly we made the silk screen. I'm going to show you how quickly and easy it is to print. Now, generally, we could use screen filler. It's very common to use what's called screen filler, and you put it all around the screen just in case there's some little pinholes. Before we print, sometimes we use screen filler, and that is a precaution against getting any little holes that might be on the screen that you don't want. Doesn't sound very good, but I'm just going to leave it at that. The answer is to push this screen filler around. And it's a combination of clay and glue. Okay, so now I did put some screen filler on the screen, and it does look pretty gnarly when it's all on there, but it's just to make the printing a little easier. So I have a shirt here, which is one I'm prepared to use as a test shirt. You don't always have to do a test, but it's a safety step. So I put my screen down on my fabric. I'm going to use this Speedball Arts white fabric printing ink, and I'm putting a layer of it at one end of the screen. It doesn't flow out like water, it flows kind of like pudding. And I'm going to use this silk screen. Maybe later in another workshop I'll talk a little bit more about these squeegees. I'm kind of partial to these ones. The thickness of it, 1/4 inch, the softness of it, 70 durometer is what they call the flexibility of the rubber. But today I'm going to use these little narrow ones. I'm just going to give it a try. So here we go. When you do a test, I'd recommend just doing it one pass, because you want to see what's going on. The nice thing about these types of inks is that I can hold the squeegee without ink dropping all over the place. So I'm just going to put it on the table, check my hands, and now you pin one side of the screen down, and with the other you lift up. And we can see we have what is just about a perfect print. Looks like there's a little fabric piece there, but other than that, it's pretty darn good. And that's our test, which means that every one that we print after this is just going to be better and better and better. So I put a few more shirts on the table, and let's print away. Put the silk screen, put it in a nice place. Not too high, not too low, not too much over to the left, not too much over to the right. I'm going to put another strip of ink. You know, I've never really known, is it ink or paint? Seems like it's somewhere in between. Here we go. I'm going to do 2 passes. There's one, and here's the second one. Not hard at all. Sometimes people can get stressed out. I've gotten stressed out printing before. And here we go. Now I can see there is this one little piece of ink that's coming through in the O. I'm just not worried about it for this particular project, but it wouldn't be, as a matter of fact, maybe I'll tell you what, I'll do a little quick trick right now and fix it. You know what we use? Nail polish. Okay, so I'm just going to take because nail polish dries very quickly. I'm going to look for that little spot, and I'm going to go right onto the screen. Okay, and we're back in business now. We did a little on-the-fly correction. Yeah, be careful moving around when you're printing it. You never want to get into the Lucy mode, what I call it. Remember that TV show, I Love Lucy? And she could just make chaos out of anything. Oh man, I bet she could really make a comedy skit out of silk screening. Did you ever see the one with Lucille Ball making wine, where her and Vivian were stepping on the grapes? Can you imagine them spilling paint all over the floor? This time I'm going to pull the squeegee from the opposite direction, because the ink has got collected over on that side. And we're going to see if my little touch-up, no-see-em, fix-em trick worked with the nail polish. I'm going to pin on this side and lift up. And it looks like my on-the-fly correction worked very nicely. We've taken the little spot out. And these shirts are simply great. They're really simple. And it's a very simple thing to do, but sometimes this is just what's needed. Okay, so now that we got that spot fixed on the screen, I'm going to print a few more shirts up just to show you how easy it is. Now, I like to use the 32 ounces. I just think it's a good size. If you're doing big runs, of course, buy the gallon, of course, and save some money. But buying the little cans or the little jars of ink doesn't make much sense to me. 32 ounces is pretty good. People always ask, how many shirts can I print with 32 ounces of ink? Well, that depends how much ink is used every time you screen. So here we go. I've already got my shirts stretched over the masonite boards. Oh God, I'm acting so clumsy here. I guess I have to do this a few more times to get faster at it. Okay, here we go. All right, so now that we fixed that little spot on the screen, I'm sure the customer will appreciate it. You take your shirt, you make sure it's centered. I have inside the shirt a piece of masonite, which is cut just to make sure there aren't any wrinkles, because you can't have any wrinkles when you're printing. You put the screen down on the shirt, you make sure it's leveled in a good proportion to the neck. People have different opinions about that. And I'm going to take my squeegee and I'm simply going to pull it, not too hard at all, once, and go back again and give it a second pull. And there is a little technique so that the ink doesn't drip. I'm just going to put it right there, check my fingers, and pin on one side and lift on the other. And we've just printed a nice looking shirt. Well, this is how you print a t-shirt from a silk screen. Thank you for watching, and if you have a question, contact us at contact@supersilkscreen.com. Thank you.